Analytics Insight, and I'm in conversation with Ms. Sri Kripa Srinivasan, Vice President of Dell Global Analytics, to talk about how artificial intelligence and big data is transforming the way they work. Hi, Sri Kripa. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Hi, thank you, Apurva. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so I'd like to start this podcast by asking you to tell us a brief about Dell and its focus on artificial intelligence and the services it offers.
Thank you. And a great question to start with. So I think the whole world knows, but I will still repeat the mantra that you know what Dell is all about. We create technology that drives human progress. It's a good line. It's a line which means that we have technology wherever you're seeing human progress happening in any way. We help organizations and individuals build their digital future and transform how they work, how they live, and how they play. I believe in Dell Technologies, artificial intelligence is already impacting every business process in a very positive way. Even as I speak right now, our businesses reach out to us in terms of make the better into best and what we can do at every area. So artificial intelligence, I think, is here to stay and is here to help us fit into the human progress, which is our company's aim and objective. We see artificial intelligence as a very integral part of our products and business and our vision. And we are going to be figuring out that every customer also wants artificial intelligence in everything that we do, and therefore that vision is well fitted there. We provide our customers with industry's broadest and the most innovative technology and a services portfolio. All the solutions in the marketplace are evolving, and if you look around, you will rarely find anything which you don't need an AI and ML. And we are also sort of following the same bandwagon, and we deliver high impact and end-to-end solutions. And to me, I call this out as hashtag win with analytics.
Absolutely. It surely is a technology that drives human progress, and it is absolutely here to stay through enterprises like Dell that wants to deliver high impact end to end solutions. And on that note, can you also tell us your proactive role and your contributions towards the company and the industry?
Sure thing. So first of all, I'm very fond of technology and advancement. So I fit into the main role of the company, which is to create technology to drive human progress. As the vice president in Dell Global Analytics, which is part of the Performance Analytics Group, I lead the business intelligence, reporting analytics, data science solutions as far as the business functions within Dell. At an organizational level, we see that our whole organization has different scales at which our analytics solutions are with our business. What we are trying to drive in our businesses within Dell is to say that choose your AI first approach. So AI requires the right data first, as you know. So it's a good combination, it's a good marriage of having the right data, right technology, and right analytics solution to actually win all hearts as far as the product is concerned. So for us within the organization, getting all data to be seamless, we've got something like a single source of truth, which is our big objective in the organization. And when you get to a single source of truth, I'm sure all of you in the organization you sit in, you will have multiple people saying, oh, this is the right data, and so therefore this is the right report, and this is the right data, so this is the right analytics. Our aim within this group is to have the right data first, on that have right technology, and on that have the right analytics, so that we are equipping our business with the best of solutions. I strategize along with my larger group in terms of how to get this whole single source of truth and single pane of glass and analytics on top of that to be the most innovative as far as the company is concerned. We continuously innovate, and I love the word innovation because what worked yesterday need not work today. What the pain problem statements of yesterday need not be the pain problem statements of today. The enthusiasm of yesterday may be enthusiasm for something else today. So the continuous innovation is important. BFSI, education sector, all these are areas where there's a lot of opportunity for us to work, and that's my role, and that's how I proactively keep driving human progress.
Yes, I think not just me, I think even our listeners will agree that data first is a great mantra for every industry in this data driven world. And obviously, artificial intelligence and other disruptive technologies is a big part of what you do. So, can you also tell me how Dell is contributing in the artificial intelligence and big data analytics industry of the nation, and how the company is benefiting its clients with these services?
Thank you. Again, a very good question. See, while you spoke about data first, we obviously ended with having good analytics and artificial intelligence, and finally having experience of a customer, which is an experience of a lifetime. So we put a lot of focus in creating meaningful customer experiences. To me, if your customer is happy and the experience is happy, you've actually created contributed a big way in terms of whether AI or big data to industry and to the nation. But I also want to call out our efforts in terms of AI and big data has three four folds to it. Number one is that I'm personally involved on behalf of Dell in AI for social good, and we have larger organizations that we are part of, where we're doing work for the education sector, specifically for the underprivileged communities, schools in the backward areas, where we're trying to support students and teachers. We our children go to schools where the student teacher ratio is 1:25, 1:35, but you have areas where underprivileged communities have a student teacher ratio 1:100 and things like that. How do you enable these teachers to be able to navigate and find the strongest child in the class? How do you enable these teachers to be use some AI and find out who is the child who's actually not got it, and how do we help them? So we've got collaborations with NASCOM, CII, and other organizations of such breadth, with whom we constantly try and figure out what we can do as far as giving back to the nation in terms of AI and big data over and above what our products do for our customers. From a product perspective, as we it's a good segue. We had one of our performance analytics group products, which hit the headlines very recently in terms of the digital repair project, which got recognition in house. It got recognition at the highest level within Dell and externally too. That's an example of how you make a product self-serving, how you make it human-free, how you make the time to order, uh, time to order and delivery completely sort of truncated and lesser. And this again is talking about a good experience as far as customers concerned with AI. So from my perspective, the one, I spoke with social good. Second, I spoke about our product itself. I think it's very important to understand that the AI ecosystem, is so quickly transforming that what the amount of data is growing multifold. How you gather data is also now having an AI element to it. How it is stored is having an AI element to it. How the machine algorithms are running has got an AI element to it. The architecture in our products is having an AI element to it. This is the in my opinion, it's exploding in terms of the way the ecosystem is changing, and how we, in an agile way, turn this around and use it to our advantage and to the ecosystem's advantage is what I call as innovation. There is an enormous amount of congruence we can get between AI, technology, data, and intelligent people to really give back to our ecosystems. We've heard about the smart cars and auto cars and driverless cars and what have you, and the medical sort of community having AI facilities in terms of doing operations and stuff like that. The list is endless, and we are there in every area in terms of figuring out how AI can help.
Yes, artificial intelligence is a game changer. And as you mentioned, AI for Good is Dell's initiative to make the world a better place. And incorporating AI and big data shows the technology's diversity and how multifold the usage can actually be. And on that note, can you tell how Dell as a company is innovative? And what are the key partnerships and involvements done to drive that innovation within the company?
It's again, you got a bunch of questions which are all making me think a lot. So there's another very good question. Innovation is a state of time thing. You might have been extremely innovative as an organization day before yesterday. Maybe it went down in the scale yesterday. Maybe it's going up today. The one thing that I have understood from a Dell perspective is that you're constantly innovative, but with your outcome in mind. It's all about mindset. You can innovate to say that I want to take something to planet Jupiter, but who's going to use it? It's very important to understand that you have to put a mindset into saying that you spoke about customer experience. What does the customer want? You spoke about the efficiency within house. What is the efficiency within house? You spoke about experience. What is that experience that you're talking about? Which is, we have one of our business which says frictionless and self-serve is our biggest goal for the year. So the mindset is important, saying that, can I just wear a customer's shoe and be innovative as far as that outcome is concerned? So from a leadership agenda perspective, we just finished our, a very, very big conference. Innovation is very high, in our agenda. So while we host hackathons, workshops, augmentation and working with our peer teams is one of my biggest agendas in this coming year. Regular discussions, whiteboarding, thinking through, saying what am I working on, what's the best way of doing this. Are you good in chapter 1 to 4? Am I good in chapter 5 to 10? Let's do this together. Those kind of things are very important. And also, I keep giving these examples even in my own team, saying, do you know how many times the Wright brothers had to fail before they got the right balance of what it takes to get a plane off the ground? So accepting failure is very important. The more you accept it, the more you have the appetite for innovation. But it's important to be agile. You can't fail and say, Acha, I can't do it anymore. So it's important to be agile, say, wake up, what did I learn from that? Work on it. What is my customer needing? Has it changed from yesterday? And continuously sort of iterate fast as you learn from your previous experience.
Absolutely. I think innovation is a state of time, should go on everyone's dream board, because surely many people will have tons of ideas, but acting on time is crucial, especially when this tech world is so dynamic. I mean, artificial intelligence, big data, everything advances so quickly in a matter of days that, if you are not on time, none of your ideas will actually be on board. And time and being on time is what actually drives innovation. And on that note, can you also tell us how these disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence and big data and automation is impacting today's innovation, and how has the role of a leader changed over the years?
That's a very, very pet question to me. I love this question because as a leader who has been in the industry for so many years, I'm not going to tell you number of years and you start counting how old I am. I miss the days when we used to consider our projects as new babies and we made discoveries and things like that. The acceptance of newer methods, adding sciences to that has helped a lot. Today, if you look at it as a leader, let me just quickly address what we're talking about when you talk about how leadership has changed. Number one, in the earlier days when I was a leader, you always had this wise old person who understood the domain well, who understood technology well, and who would be the go-to person saying, find time in that person's calendar and they will help you, even if it's as something as simple as a macro. As we have gone ahead in our leadership journey, you realize that technologies and solutions keep on changing a lot, and you need very, very quick solutions. You don't have time, and we spoke about time even in the previous question. So agility is very important. So testing methodology, we've seen the agile methodology in the technology space. Testing methodology, quickly sort of finding out where tweaks need to be done, iterations, failing fast, relearning fast, having joint teams which are a good combination of domain experts, technology experts, analytics experts, and teams with whom you can do beta testing. All these teams are very important to sort of partner well and collaborate well. That's a big part, saying have the right team so that all these four are quickly working and changing and bringing out what you need as an ultimate solution. The one thing I want to add is that we have a big reliance on the combination of age groups using our products too. So we have a lot of campus hires we get on board, and some of the ideas these campus hire newcomers bring. I actually have a very pet word which I've used in a previous interview also, which I said they youthify me. They completely unify my thinking, saying, "Oh my God, I never thought of it in this manner." So, as a leader, it's important to have a combination of people that's going to be a winning combination. The other thing is that you have to the attitude to succeed requires you to be able to take a risk. You can't be conservative as a leader, cannot hold on to old methods. You have to quickly drop those things and say, okay, sometimes old methods work, sometimes the old methods are not going to work. What has worked for so many years may not work today. So what do I tweak to sort of get this better? And accept change and move fast and see what's the right thing to do. And if you have the right team, they're going to tell you whether you're moving too fast, you're moving too slow, what is the testing to be done, and accept the fact that you have to keep on evolving on your solutions because the market dynamics are like that.
Yes, being agile is something every leader should be because, again, as we spoke before, tech space is super dynamic and leaders need to be quick on their feet to drive the teams. And of course, surrounding yourself with a team which is diverse and fresh, or as you said, keep youthifying yourself to move fast.
Correct.
So, so now, I mean, I think our listeners would also want to know that what are the key partnerships that drive innovation within the company?
You seem as if you've just come out of my strategy sessions, because my strategy sessions we were discussing all of this exactly in this manner. So in my strategy session, which I'm just coming out of, I had put four buckets. Number one was data, and we spoke about that. And you're hearing enough information out there saying, how many zettabytes and how exponentially data is exploding in the eco space. Number one is the right data. What is the method? How do you keep on evolving? Do you need to put AI there? Do you need to put any other methods of getting the right data? And getting, when you say right data, you not only mean accurate data, you also mean size of data. Now, if I'm doing something where I'm talking about the Women's Day, I can limit it to this group and the number of women. Or I can say Bangalore, I can say India, I can say Asia, I can say Asia and Europe, I can say the world, or I could, sort of say in the world, the number of women who are chartered accountants. There's just so much of data and cuts which you need in terms of robustness of information as well as accuracy. So number one is data. Number two is technology. Now, and the two are different. Technology, once you have data, I can sit and do counters like our Munshiji used to do in many years back. Or by Munshiji, I started my work life with a Khata book as a chartered accountant. So you could start using that kind of technology or a calculator, or what is the type of technology platform you need to really sort of churn around information as quickly as you need it. So that technology is the second piece. The third piece on that would be my skill set, and skill set is changing a lot. I mean, analytics in the past 10 years or 15 years in terms of skill set has evolved in terms of what the workforce should be. Should I be hardcore statistical tools? Should I have information? Should I have some coding knowledge? Should it be a combination? And I will throw one more thing, which is a pet in our world in PAG, which is called purple. And by purple people, we mean a combination of technical as well as domain expertise. So you can go and talk to the business. And that keeps on changing. The domain expertise is something which you need to keep on evolving. Do I need to keep learning, R and Python today? Maybe it's something else tomorrow. Do I need to keep brushing up my people on this kind of a thing? Is the second piece. The third piece actually, and the fourth piece is the business, because the business will tell you which direction you're going in. Is it more aligned towards faster information, more information, depth information, prescriptive information? Do I want to know tomorrow morning what stocks are going to fall? The business is the bucket. All of these need to come together to make it a seamless ocean where the water is flowing very well.
All our listeners will agree that every kind of work is being affected by data that is flooding in from everywhere. And to study this data, it is important to be updated with what's happening and what's the latest in the tech world for a seamless ocean, as you said. So, what's your point of view on the current scenario of artificial intelligence industry and its future?
Number one, I think artificial intelligence is here to stay. It is here to stay in, and it is going to get very sophisticated as we go along. And if it is going to get sophisticated, I don't know about you, but when I started my work life, there was no mobile phone. I think 1 or 2 years into my work life, the pager came, and I don't even know if you know what is a pager. But today, if I look at it, my mother, my children are so thrilled to see that their grandmother, is completely up to speed with, things like how to. Had a point of view on WhatsApp and had a point of view on Telegram, and because it's such an important tool to communicate. So number one is that have your eyes on where the ecospace is moving, which means if you really want to move with it, you need to be able to adopt. If I'm able to adopt, the changing methods of, technology, ecospace, data, whatever you have, you will adapt your ways of working. Now, with, in the past, if I had to communicate, I will put it into an envelope or a card or something and go to the post box and drop it. I have to adapt. Now I know that there is a email. I can send out an information within a jiffy. I can send you a message right now saying, hey, listen, how many more questions while I'm talking to you on my phone, and it might reach you like in 30 seconds. I need to adapt. There is good and bad to it. Your message better be accurate. Your message better be up to speed in terms of what you want to say. Your communication can't be miscommunication. So that's the adapting. So for that, I have to learn how to use this phone. And then I execute. I go and buy what is the best in the market and learn to execute on that and figure out what all I can do. And as far as I can see that, if you have your vision in terms of where the ecospace is moving, you adapt, you adopt, you adapt, and you're able to execute on that to the end outcome that you want, you're home. You're going to be along with the AI journey, which is moving so fast. The way we do it in my space is, this is easier said than done. Sounds theoretical. The way we do it in my space is that, we actually do a proof of concept for our stakeholders, saying, listen, I think I understand what you want. I think I'm going to be able to help you, and we try and put some solutions to them, and then execute and show them, this what you're looking at. If it works, we actually scale it up. That's how we do that. In this world, however, I should put a caveat saying that the one thing which scares me is the fact that so much of data, so much of information flowing, so much of potential, communication which can happen, and so many points of view from an AI team. I have a very, 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 strong point of view in terms of being ethical about this whole thing. You can have data biases, you can have analyst bias, you can have a lot of bias in the way you give out information. It's very important to have a hat on being ethical about this whole thing. We take care of a lot of this in our own workspace. We have reviewers, we educate our teams, saying, have you taken a very balanced point of view? Has all geographies been represented? All points of view being represented over here? So since AI is here to stay, I think ethical AI here also should be here to stay. And all of us as analytics leaders should spend time on ensuring that we have, we are training people to be ethical as far as analytics reports and information is concerned.
Right. Right, absolutely. I think AI is just in its initial stages now, and there is so much innovation coming out of it that it will be fascinating to see where this technology will take us as professionals and as a society, of course, with ethics in place. Dell as a company has a vision where it sees itself providing end to end services to its customers. But throughout the journey, what are some of the major challenges the company has faced till now?
So I'm sure you've been up to speed with all of the market reports and things like that. We ended our quarter really well. We ended our year really well. It has been for us a moment of great pride as far as and how we finished the year. It's been exemplary in how we've come together as a company in this year. where it's been such a crazy year with the pandemic and how we work together in unity, and we've not slipped this, skipped a beat in the whole year in terms of delivery. The work from home has happened well. The delivery from home has happened well. The sales teams have delivered, sitting where they are with all the pandemic in place. As our leadership with Michael Dell, Jeff Clark, and Tom Swede were sharing this news, and they shared the good news about the full year revenue being a record 94.2 billion US dollars. We were really there for our customers, and partners. They needed us. We were there for them. We are all on a high right now. We are on seventh heaven, and we know the year has a lot to do, but it's been a great year. And I think from a challenge perspective, I am really in awe of such a fantastic leadership that we have on how the year has been led for us by a great team, even though the whole world went through such a huge pandemic.
Those are some stellar numbers. I mean, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And in accordance with what you said about the end of your year, how do you see the industry ahead and the outlook of businesses?
I think I mentioned several times in the course of this the interview that it's a very very fast changing eco space that we have in the R&D and technology space that we are in. The solutioning is also fast changing. So all our customers want quick solutions. That is an expectation, and the industry is headed in that direction. It was heading in that direction. On the other hand, excellence and efficiency is another area where almost all our customers are headed. Cost management and OPEX management is where the industry is headed. Dell is very, very well positioned because these things are our biggest priorities, not just today, but all the time.
I mean, that is excellent news for Dell, and I think for the industry also. And seeing how this disruptive technology is just changing the way we work, it certainly had an impact on our work from home culture or work from office culture also. I think from this point, it's just great to know that where we are headed is towards innovation and a lot of changes that will bring hopefully good, thanks to the ethics to this world. Thank you so much, Shrikrupa, for connecting with us today. It was a pleasure to have you with us.